Blue NIV, 739. Black New American Standard, 1240. Black New International Version, page 1034. Today we're going to talk about the kingdom as a great banquet. We're going to see Jesus eating at a Pharisee's house with other Pharisees. And the first story, we're going to spend a brief amount of time to set up the second one. Okay, so we're going to start in Luke 14 and verse 7. When he, and the he being Jesus, noticed how the guests picked the places of honor at the table, he's going to tell them a parable. See, if you traveled with Jesus, every moment is a teachable moment. Parents, take note. Every moment is an opportunity for a teachable moment. Christians, every moment is an opportunity for the teachable moment. So Jesus tells them a story. Once observing the scene. When someone invites you to a wedding feast, do not take the place of honor. For a person more distinguished than you may have been invited. And if so, the host who invited both of you will come to you and say, give this person your seat. Then you, humiliated, you'll have to take the least important place. But when you're invited, take the lowest place so that when your host comes, he will say to you, friend, move up to a better place. For all those who exalt themselves will be humbled, and those who humble themselves will be exalted. Then Jesus said to the host, when you give a luncheon or dinner, do not invite your friends, your brothers, your sisters, your relatives, or your rich neighbors. If you do, well, they might invite you back, and then you'll be repaid. Verse 13, but when you give a banquet, invite the poor, and the crippled, the lame, the blind, and you will actually be blessed. Although they cannot repay you, you will be repaid at the resurrection of the righteous. Again, Jesus is taking a typical social interaction, a social party, and he's flipping it upside down. He said, hey, listen guys, when you have a party, don't just invite your buddies. Now you may be saying, well, isn't that the purpose for the party, that I can hang out with my buddies? See, when you're a follower, when you're a disciple of Jesus, he consumes our lives, and everything we do is about the kingdom. In fact, I encourage you when you get to the end of your day, before you sleep that night, to say, was it a kingdom day? Did I advance his kingdom? Did I grow in Christ and advance his kingdom in partnership with him? He's saying, hey, if you're going to have a Super Bowl party, as painful as it might have been, sorry. It's not just about you and your friends. Invite some people that you don't know that well. That might not fit in. They might not have a place to fit in. Now, have you ever been in a situation where you didn't feel like you fit? You kind of feel like you were the outcast. Jesus says, the outcast is the one to be invited. Now, it's interesting. He's sitting around a bunch of church folk, religious leaders, Pharisees, the spiritual people of Israel. And he noticed that when they came in, they were jockeying for position by the honored guest, the one who's hosting the party. We would never do that, of course. We would just choose the lowest seat in the back, right? When the sound's not that great? Yeah, some of you are laughing. I get it. Do you understand his point here? Don't think we're all that we get to sit in the honored seat to the right or the left of the special guest. Because if we do and someone more important comes in, humiliation is about to happen. Pride comes before the fall. And they will have to say to you, no way, I'm really sorry here, but your seat's actually down. And then you have to stand up and walk in front of everybody, and everybody knows what you've been doing. You were jockeying for position. Instead, he says, be humble. Choose the farthest seat. So when the master, when the honored guest says, oh, no way, you're in the back. Buddy, come on, you're at the head table. you can humbly walk in front of everyone to the honored seat, and they will understand the situation. Jesus has this way of dealing with the Pharisees. He always tells a story to get them thinking. He tells them a story to rebuke them. It's the way of the rabbi. He tells us stories, one, so they're memorable, two, so that we can be transformed. It's less painful, and it buys us in. Here's how. If he tells a story over here in the third person about just some people, we're like, yeah, we choose a side. Oh, that person shouldn't do that. And then he goes, you're the person. And we're like, ouch. And transformation is invited. At the end here, he says, be careful to invite people that can repay you. Invite people that cannot. Invite people that cannot repay you. And let God repay you at the resurrection. That's his point. See, the Pharisees, hey, you invite me to your party, I'll invite you, we'll do that, we'll work that thing, it will be great. Jesus says, no, invite people that cannot repay you. And I will repay you at the resurrection. So now we're at a crossroads. Do we believe that the temporary reward of being paid back by our friends for the invitation is worth more than the reward at the resurrection? That's Jesus' point. Do we trust what he says? Do we trust that he says the reward at resurrection is better than the reward now in social standing, social benefit? We'll move on down to verse 15, because it's only going to get better. And we're invited into the story. When one of those at the table with him heard this, he said to Jesus, well, blessed is the one who will eat at the feast of the kingdom of God. How is Jesus going to respond? He's going to tell them a story. And they're going to be in the story. So verse 16, Jesus replied, a certain man was preparing a great banquet, and he invited many guests. At the time of the banquet, he sent his servant to tell those who had been invited, come, for everything is now ready. But they all alike begin to make excuses. That is, to explain it, the word can literally be they rejected the invitation. So here's what's happening. Usually you would kind of send out 2 invitations. Because in that time they didn't have refrigerators. They couldn't just swing over to Costco and grab the fruit plate and the veggie plate. The preparations took a long time. You get the animals, you have to go prepare the animals. We'll leave it at that. Save you all the gory details. It took a while. So he would send out an invitation. Are you going to be able to come? This happened in a couple of weeks. You're going to be able to come? You're going to be able to come? So after he finds out who's going to come, they go and they spend their money and they purchase what they're going to need. Or they begin to prepare. Have you ever prepared for something and people don't show up? What's that like? It's a what?
Rejection.
Yeah, it's rejection. Rejection. It can frustrate you. It can cause anger. My experience is Coloradans are the worst RSVPers in the world. No lie. Are you going to come? You going to come? You going to come? You get them with all those Evites. No response. Well, here's the scene. These people know there's going to be a banquet. The rich man is going to invite them to the banquet. And they accept initially. So he prepares all the feast. This great feast for them all to partake of. And it's going to be a great day, except the second time the servant goes around and goes, okay, the preparations are ready. It is Saturday. It's time to eat. Let's go. Get dressed and come on. Here's where the story begins to unravel. Verse 18, but they all alike begin to make excuses. And the first said, I bought a feed. I got to go see. Please excuse me. This would shock them. It shocks us. Jesus is being extravagant with his metaphor. Because you understand you don't buy the field until you see the field. That's just not smart. And so Jesus is implying that this person making the excuse is not very smart. They've already given their word that they want to go to the banquet. And now they're making excuses. And not very good ones. Verse 19. Another one said, I just bought 5 yoke of oxen just now. I'm on my way to try them out. Please excuse me. That's like buying a new car, sight unseen. The hood's down, you don't know if an engine's in it. You might have to go check that out. See if it starts, see if it drives, see if it smokes, see if it leaks, see if it's safe, see if it's stolen, see if it has a salvage title. All those good things. Again, do you see how the metaphor is just, it's beyond logic. You go, that doesn't make sense. Because what if you show up and they're dead ox? It's going to be a one-time party. You're going to eat them and then, it's over. Typically, you buy that many to farm. Jesus is trying to get the point across to the Pharisees that these people were invited to the banquet, but they've got better things to do. Still another said, I just got married, so I can't come. And the way he says it is like just now. Now there are some pastors and scholars who think this is more plausible. Because if a guy asks another guy to hang out, he has to get permission first. I'm just kidding. Ladies, it was just something I heard along the way. Don't hold me responsible. The servant has gone out to call everybody for the party because the party is ready. The banquet is ready. And he returns by himself to say, all those people we invited, your supposed friends, they're not coming. The owner of the house became angry and ordered his servant, go out quickly into the streets and the alleys of the town and bring in the poor and the crippled, the blind and the lame. The blind and the lame. Let me try that again. The blind. That's not an L. Well, it is an L. Of course. Bring in the poor, the crippled, the blind, and the lame. Sir, the servant said, what you have ordered has been done, but there's more room, because as you recall, you were having a big party. It's a big banquet. The master told the servant, then go out to the roads and the country lanes. Compel them, insist that they come in, so that my house will be full. I tell you, not one of those who were invited will get a taste. No taste. When Jesus tells a story, this will help our Bible reading just understand this. Often the person who is the servant is someone who is a Christian believer, a follower of Jesus, a disciple of Jesus. And in one sense, the great banquet is about the kingdom, the end times, the kingdom when Jesus returns. It's about going to heaven for the great feasting banquet, the great wedding banquet. The bridegroom comes to get his bride, the church, and take him home.